Let's return to Hollywood and our top story this morning, where legendary actress Diane Keaton has died at the age of 79, sending shockwaves through the industry and among fans.
You said you can't imagine what I think of you.
Oh, yeah, you don't have to answer that.
The sultry strains of jazz echoed through the Beverly Hills villa, mingling with the laughter of A-list stars and the crystalline glint of red wine glasses reflecting on the ceiling. It was the lavish annual birthday party of the legendary Jack Nicholson. Amid the crowd, Diane Keaton appeared. She was the guest of honor, and the only one who could make Jack fall silent for a long moment during the festivities. But just days later, everything turned upside down. The news of Diane Keaton's sudden death at 79 left Hollywood stunned. Even more shocking was the appearance of Jack Nicholson's name in the police investigation file. According to insider sources, on the rooftop where the two had sat and talked, police found a shattered wine glass, signs of a struggle, and a few scraps of paper marked with the mysterious initial J. What really happened at that party? Beneath Hollywood's dazzling lights, was there a darkness known only to Jack and Diane? And only one survived to tell the tale. They first met on a lively afternoon in 1978, amidst the chaotic energy of the Reds film set. At the time, Diane Keaton was basking in the glory of Annie Hall, while Jack Nicholson was already a living Hollywood icon. Diane entered the room with disheveled hair, clutching a dog-eared script, her voice trembling slightly from the cold. In the corner, Jack lounged in a chair, observing her through dark sunglasses. "You're the one who's been keeping Warren Beatty up for weeks, aren't you?" Diane responded with a smile that was half defiance, half playful. "If that's true, you'd better keep your distance from me." Laughter filled the room, but Jack remained silent. He lifted his sunglasses, his gaze piercing through her. "I'm never afraid of women." And then, they both laughed. In that moment, something quietly took shape. Not love, nor desire, but an unspoken connection, as if two souls had brushed against each other in another lifetime. From a casual quip, they embarked on a peculiar bond. Through the 1980s, Jack and Diane stayed in touch, occasionally attending gallery openings or film events together. Diane called Jack the most charming troublemaker, while Jack called her the woman who keeps me awake at night. In 2003, fate reunited them in Something's Gotta Give, a romantic film where every glance between them convinced audiences something real was unfolding. During the first script read-through, the air seemed to freeze. Their eyes met, and every line suddenly came alive, as if drawn from their own hearts. A crew member recalled, "Even after the director called cut, Jack kept looking at Diane like he couldn't tear his eyes away. And Diane smiled, half shy, half teasing. No one knew the true nature of their relationship, but there was an invisible thread between them. After each scene, Diane would step onto the balcony to breathe, and Jack would appear minutes later. A magazine even wrote, "Jack calls Diane every night just to hear her say goodnight." To Diane, Jack was the man who made me feel I could be myself. To Jack, she was the only woman who understood my silence. Time passed and they remained friends. Until one October night, Jack Nicholson's birthday party. Diane arrived as graceful as she was all those years ago. On the rooftop, under golden lights, they spoke privately for over 20 minutes. Their final conversation, its contents unknown to anyone. After that birthday party, Hollywood was jolted awake by an earthquake. Diane Keaton was found dead in her Los Angeles home. The news spread through the night, and within 72 hours, every major and minor outlet exploded with blazing headlines. Jack Nicholson summoned by police after Diane Keaton's mysterious death. Outside Jack's villa, reporters swarmed, camera flashes bursting like flares in the night. The Los Angeles Police Department quickly issued a statement to calm the public. There is no evidence suggesting this is a criminal case. But then they added a chilling line. "We are still clarifying the events leading up to Ms. Keaton's death." That vague statement alone was enough to ignite a firestorm of suspicion. Hollywood instantly became a grand stage for rumors. Some mourned, some doubted, others spun theories. Tabloids screamed across front pages, "Jack Nicholson, the last person to see Diane Keaton alive." Hours later, Jack Nicholson quietly entered the police station, his face tense, eyes heavy with fatigue. He brought no bodyguards or lawyers. Dressed in a dark suit and sunglasses, his demeanor was visibly somber. His chin dipped slightly, facial muscles taut, accentuating deeper than ever wrinkles. He walked straight, silently opened the door, and vanished behind the heavy steel gate, leaving behind whispers and camera clicks. The interrogation room at the West LA police station was thick with tension. "Can you recount what happened that night?" the detective asked cautiously. Jack leaned back in his chair, removed his glasses, and spoke with palpable helplessness. "It was just a normal party. Friends, wine, some old songs. Diane left before midnight." But the investigation file was far from simple. The report noted no security cameras on the rooftop. When pressed, Jack Nicholson only sighed. "I don't know. Maybe a technical glitch. Everything in that house is old." A perfect coincidence. Suspiciously so. Meanwhile, Diane Keaton's autopsy report was released. No signs of violence, but traces of sedatives were found. The question arose, did Diane take the medication before the party or after leaving Jack Nicholson's villa? Suspicion escalated when a confidential source revealed a witness recalled Jack Nicholson personally pouring Diane Keaton a glass of red wine just before they left the rooftop. Minutes later, a wine glass was found shattered near where they stood, cleaned up by a server before police arrived. Immediately, police ordered tests on the remaining wine in the bottle and detailed statements from all attendees. A forensic team was deployed to examine glasses, cups, and fingerprints. That's when they uncovered a bigger issue. The two had a heated argument on the balcony. An anonymous server testified hearing Diane's voice suddenly rise, interspersed with Jack trying to calm her, saying, "You don't understand me, Diane." Then came the sound of a chair being moved forcefully, followed by a silence lasting over a minute. When police questioned Jack Nicholson about this, he didn't evade. He sat silently for a few seconds, looked straight at the investigator, and said in a hoarse, weary voice, "I just wanted to help her. Get away from Al Pacino." Pausing, Jack continued, "She called me several times. They had a past, but lately Diane said he was back, sending letters and calling at midnight. She was scared but didn't want to make a scene." Jack took a deep breath, his eyes behind the sunglasses narrowing with emotion. "I went too far. I told her to cut him off, to leave the city immediately. She got furious hearing that. She stood up, looked me in the face, and shouted." He swallowed hard, his throat catching. "She told me not to meddle in other people's business, called me an overbearing old man, and said that's why she didn't want to confide in me." Emotion suddenly burst forth. Jack Nicholson slumped, his trembling hands covering his face. Silent sobs, only heavy gasps shaking the cold room. I couldn't protect her. I pushed her away. And now she's gone. But I swear I didn't harm her. I just wanted to protect Diane." This testimony didn't resolve the case. It opened a dangerous new direction, implicating another legend, Al Pacino. The tragedy grew more haunting as a silent suspicion arose. Was Jack Nicholson truly just trying to protect Diane? Or was there a truth he never wanted anyone to know? The reality was, Jack and Diane's past wasn't merely collegial friendship. Jack had loved her madly after Reds, a fierce, desperate love tinged with pleading. And what infuriated him most was Al Pacino, Diane's complicated, long-standing ex. But the story didn't end there. During the investigation, police found a note in Diane Keaton's personal diary. "Don't make me despise you, Jack." That line immediately sent shockwaves through the public, eerily echoing a famous anecdote Jack shared in a 2003 interview. "She'd look at me, frown, and say, 'You're disgusting.' Then we'd both burst out laughing." Back then, the public saw it as a private joke between friends. But after Diane's death, it took on a different hue. Was it a warning? According to her diary, Jack, with his obsessive, unrequited love masked as friendship, had repeatedly tried to pursue Diane. But valuing her peace and unwilling to stir the past, she rejected him multiple times. Though she cherished their bond, she wanted no part of the complexity Jack brought. Suspicion grew when a close friend of Diane's revealed she received dozens of letters from Jack Nicholson, none of which she ever opened. But Jack wouldn't accept boundaries. The letters seized by police were filled with pleas and resentment. "Diane, please stop avoiding me. I don't want you facing this alone." Another read, "Don't love Al Pacino anymore. He's trouble." This relationship became a source of extreme stress for Diane. In her final months, she was torn. On one hand, she needed Jack, the confidant who understood her soul best. On the other, she had to build a steel wall against his unrequited feelings. Her exhaustion was clear in her diary. "No room to breathe. Jaya is breaking me. I just want some peace." She suffered chronic insomnia, relied on sedatives, and tried to cancel all meetings with Jack. But it didn't stop there. When searching her Brentwood home, police found a stack of unsealed handwritten letters in Keaton's desk drawer, all signed J. These letters were never sent, but fresh ink suggested they were written just days before the fateful birthday party. An officer, speaking to the press with empathy, said, "The handwriting seemed shaky, but the emotion was clear. These were letters to a loved one who never dared open them." From there, the case took a complete turn. Amid unfinished lines, unopened white envelopes, and Diane's anger on the rooftop, a tragedy emerged. The pain of a woman pushed to her limits, caught between the two men she loved most. When Jack stepped out of the Los Angeles Police Department, flashes enveloped him like a storm in the night. Dozens of reporters jostled, thrusting microphones, shouting his name in chaos. Camera clicks mingled with relentless questions. "Were you really the last to see Diane Keaton alive, Jack? Did you two argue at your birthday party? Police say they found a personal item of yours at the scene. How do you explain that?" Jack paused, squinting against the blinding flashes. He tried to stay composed, but his face betrayed him. Dark circles, disheveled hair, hands trembling slightly. No longer the wily gentleman amid the chaos, Jack was just a man grappling with the worst nightmare of his life. A Los Angeles Times reporter stepped forward. "Jack, did you love Diane Keaton?" Jack stared at the questioner, lips moving but no words emerging. Finally, he rasped, "Get out of my way." As Jack Nicholson slowly walked through the corridor, hundreds of camera lenses outside the station zeroed in on him. The clicks and flashes pounded like a hailstorm on the solitary man. Then, just before the heavy steel door, something unexpected happened. Jack stopped. His trembling hand swept back his disheveled silver hair. In the next second, a tear rolled down his deeply lined cheek, trailing the wrinkles etched by time. That tear wasn't the remorse of a criminal, but the shattering of a friend. He tried to walk on, but slumped slightly, a choked sob escaping, impossible to hide. He broke down. Jack Nicholson, the man who feared nothing, collapsed before thousands of lenses, millions of watching eyes. The flashes continued, capturing the most tragic, broken moment of a legend. It was the moment Jack was no longer Jack Nicholson, just an old man tormented by an unspeakable secret and regret for failing to protect her. Diane Keaton's funeral was held quietly and privately at a small, classic-style church in Brentwood. Jack Nicholson arrived late, alone. He wore a classic black suit, no sunglasses, revealing sunken eyes. As he passed through the gate, whispers and camera clicks hushed, replaced by a heavy silence. All eyes turned to him, and attendees began murmuring. He entered, standing silently in the back row, far from others. No one dared approach, and he sought no comfort. Throughout the ceremony, Jack Nicholson didn't cry or move noticeably. He stared fixedly at the coffin draped in white hydrangeas, Diane's favorite. His stillness was more terrifying than sobs, a frozen pain, an obsessive restraint. During the eulogy, when an old friend mentioned the special bond between Diane and Jack, the air grew tenser. When everyone was invited to pay final respects, Jack was the last to approach. He placed a single white rose on the coffin. Then he leaned down, whispering something inaudible. Some claimed he muttered, "Al, you bastard." Others said it was a faint apology. As he turned away, his face was pale as wax. He left the church, heading straight to his car, offering no handshakes or goodbyes. Media and public reaction. After the news broke, Jack Nicholson's name dominated social media, entertainment outlets, and morning talk shows. Millions scrolled through iconic photos of him and Diane Keaton in Something's Gotta Give, now framed by suspicions and mysteries. On one side, Jack's loyal fans fiercely defended him. He'd never hurt Diane. They were close. He adored her. On the other, skeptics believed something sinister was hidden. Forums overflowed with chilling analyses. The conveniently broken security camera that night, the repeated "you're disgusting" in her diary, and especially the wine glass cleaned up right after Diane left the rooftop. Meanwhile, some outlets took a calmer but no less sardonic tone. An unnamed relationship, a private conversation, a sudden death. And now Hollywood wonders, how much do we really know about Jack and Diane's friendship? 2 days after the news spread, Jack Nicholson's representative broke the silence in a brief press conference. "There's nothing suspicious. Jack is grieving but will cooperate if requested. He considered Diane a part of his life." But the press didn't buy the calm. A Globe reporter claimed, "He's been summoned again. This time, police want to clarify inconsistencies in his initial statement, not just ask for details." The situation spiraled out of control. International outlets joined in, and psychologists debated the complex friendship between two actors. On Twitter, #Justice for Diane soared to global #1. A behind-the-scenes video of Diane giving Jack a cold look during an interview became evidence, shared millions of times. Amid the media storm, Jack Nicholson vanished. No press conferences, no explanations. His Mulholland Drive villa's gates remained shut. A close source revealed he couldn't bear seeing Diane's coffin. What they said that night, only they know, but I think he's tormented beyond endurance. Tabloids used harsher words: collapse, panic, obsession. As public fervor subsided, police unexpectedly returned with a new search warrant. Hours later, the West LA precinct sealed the room where the birthday party took place. Outlets blared headlines. Jack Nicholson's party room sealed. Shattered photo frame reveals mysterious relationship. On CNN, a veteran commentator opined, "This is no longer about two actors. It's about the fragile line between love, guilt, and fame." And that line blurred that night. The pressure weighed heavily on Jack Nicholson. Colleagues revealed he was plagued by chronic insomnia. An old friend said, "He told me, I think she was the best part of my life, and I couldn't keep her." 3 weeks after Diane Keaton's death, Los Angeles remained restless. One evening, as reporters' flashes flickered outside his gate, a figure was seen standing silently in the yard. Silver hair, dark coat, holding a glass of red wine. No one dared approach, but a photographer captured the moment. The black and white image of a legend steeped in darkness, gazing into the distance as if speaking to someone no longer there, became the final testament to his wordless torment. When the crowd dispersed and the media noise faded, only one man remained in the vast house, lost in his own past. What remains after loss and pain? Amid the storm, Jack Nicholson maintained absolute silence. He neither confirmed nor denied anything. His silence wasn't a claim of innocence or guilt. It was a refusal to engage with a world crumbling around him. A longtime friend, one of the few still allowed into the Mulholland Drive villa, shared a harsh revelation with a magazine. He may not have done anything legally wrong, but he knows what really happened that night, and it's killing him with grief. Jack Nicholson's spotlight has gone out. All that remains is the darkness of remorse, a legend tormenting himself with a truth he cannot, or dares not, speak. The case remains open, but Jack Nicholson's conscience began its sentence the moment Diane Keaton left that rooftop. While police still comb through fragments of information, the film world revisits their past. They were icons of 1970s Hollywood, sharing peaks and valleys, the loneliness only the famous understand. Their friendship wasn't without cracks. On the Something's Gotta Give set, they were seen arguing fiercely, then laughing, then falling silent. Perhaps their bond, like every Hollywood script, was never just pure friendship. A veteran critic wrote in Variety, "If Diane Keaton was the soul of authenticity, Jack Nicholson was the embodiment of instinct. When those two collided, they either created magic or tragedy." The words felt like a belated omen. With no conclusive evidence yet from police, the media dug into their private lives, from personal letters exchanged in the 80s to interviews where Jack said, "Diane understood me like no one else." Perhaps that's why questions persist. Was Diane Keaton's death truly accidental? Or the final chapter of a relationship consumed by emotion, regret, and unspoken words? Diane's close friend, actress Goldie Hawn, gave a brief, haunting interview. "Diane once told me, if anyone could make me cry and laugh at the same time, it was Jack." That statement now rings like a sad prophecy, and Jack, once standing before thousands with a proud smile, now lives behind thick walls and dense darkness. They say he still plays old films, Red's Something's Gotta Give, The Witches of Eastwick, all featuring his old friend. He talks to the screen as if she's still there, sometimes scolding fondly, sometimes laughing, then silent for long stretches. On his desk, unfinished scripts gather dust beside a half-empty glass of red wine. Some say he's tried returning to the set, but each time he faces the camera, he walks away, whispering, "Without her, there's nothing left to act." Hollywood was never truly a land of light, but a place that masters light to tell stories. There, truth isn't hidden. It's made up, edited, and sold as a lavish dream called the American Dream. Every moment on screen, from a fleeting glance to a falling tear, is calculated to the breath. Actors learn to cry on cue, smile for the camera angle, and wear loneliness like a fashion accessory. On the red carpet, they're no longer flesh and blood humans, but polished products of million-dollar campaigns. Each camera flash strips away a piece of their soul, traded for a moment of immortality on magazine covers. The shutter's click isn't applause, but a metronome for a slow burning, where fame shines only as long as they let it consume them. Behind the velvet curtain, parties brimming with wine and laughter are just a way to fill the void. They look in the mirror, seeing a face once adored by the world, now just smudged makeup and weary eyes. They drink, not for joy, but to forget. Then drink again to forget they're trying to forget. In Beverly Hills mansions, jazz plays like a sedative, drowning out sighs creeping through the night. In Hollywood, loneliness doesn't follow fame. It's the condition for surviving it. There, success isn't nurtured by light, but by darkness. The fear of being forgotten, the addiction to admiration, the unquenchable thirst to be seen. Every star is a perfect tragedy. Youth worn away, love traded, and peace crushed under fame's heel. And when the spotlight shines one last time, the audience sees a dazzling smile. Only Hollywood, the greatest director of all, knows that behind it lies the ashes of a soul burned out in silence.